Welcome. This is our passenger seat in this series. This is the series where we do our talking. Try that again. Welcome. This is our passenger in the seat series where we talk about life and all the things. And if you're new here, feel free to like and subscribe. My name is Robin and this is my husband Jimmy, and we talk about life in the carpool, in the passenger in the seat. Don't even know what I'm saying right now, but thanks for watching.
That person went last. And so in the experiment, you see the triangle, the person holding up the triangle, but everyone was saying square, 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 square. 18 people until this last person. And then that person said square too.
No.
So it's like, the question is, what would you have said? Because it's like, you see it.
You question
But you question it because 18 people, you would be the only person that said in the room that said something different than the other 18 people. And you didn't know it was like a setup. You just thought, and then you begin to question yourself. Like, what? I see what I see, but other 18 people said square. Am I really saying triangle? Do I really want to be the one person in the room to say something different?
So this is how the government brainwashes us?
She was saying something like this. So Candace Owens was saying that in the short. She was describing that exercise that they did. And I thought that was interesting because I was like, what would I have said? Because you would want to say, you just say what you saw, triangle. But then you think about that's like a super obvious example, but you extract it out to actual life. Wouldn't have you doubted what you know to be true because majority of the people in the room or that you surrounded yourself believe something else?
I think I have doubted myself multiple times.
Right? Like, and I can't so as an
I question more often my own stance, my own thinking, because I feel like a lot of people think differently. And I'm like, am I the one that's wrong here? Am I the one that's overreacting? Am I not the one that... Yeah, so I question myself a lot.
So would you say square?
I would like to think that I would have said triangle.
Let me re-explain this. Okay, so the context of this, I watched a short. It was Candace Owens on YouTube. And I might miss some of the details, but basically she was describing this exercise. I think it was the CIA, and they had 19 people in a room, and 18 of them were CIA agents or whatever, and the one person didn't know that, and the 18 people were instructed to say square when the person came in the room and showed a picture of a triangle, and they went around the room asking like, "What do you see?" So the other 18 agents had to say square, and then the last person was the actual person that wasn't an agent and didn't know what was going on, to see if they could be swayed to say square when obviously in the front it was a triangle. And it was just an interesting exercise because like, obviously the person knows there's a triangle, but then they begin to doubt, or they just don't want to be the one person in the room to say something different from the rest of the group, and all that kind of pressure either makes them doubt themselves or adjust their way of thinking, or just wants to conform and then just say the thing everyone else said so they don't stick out. And then, like, if that person said square instead of the triangle was the right answer.
But I feel like, gosh, a younger version of me probably would have said triangle. And then maybe a couple years ago, I probably would have said square. I think more recently, have I taken a stand against what I know to be true and kind of been like, no, this is not okay. So I probably would have been like, I would think I would say triangle. I think. I don't know. I don't think I'm easily brainwashed. I'm the one who's had pretty strong beliefs and morals, and you're the one who was more neutral in your stance, and I feel like I have influenced you to become
Yeah, I think you influenced me, being a parent, being a husband, being responsible for someone else other than myself has greatly influenced, and honestly, because you're my wife, and because your point of views and just our discussions.
I have pretty hard stances on things.
So like that definitely made me rethink, because a lot of the times the neutrality came from not caring. Like in that sense, I was thinking about would I have said square or triangle. A previous or a version of me would have said square because I wouldn't care enough, and I wouldn't want to argue my point that it's a square when everyone else said I mean, a triangle when everyone else said square. I'm just like, whatever, just a square, and then just move on. It
Yeah.
doesn't make a difference to me or anything that I care about.
It's kinda yeah, I feel for me, it's like when people say, "Oh, do you believe in God?" Well, how do you know he exists? And I just do. And it's like, "Well, prove it." And I'm like, "I don't need to prove it to you. I just know in my heart this is what I believe." And like, I'm not here to try to prove to you what I know and what I believe. I'm just you asked me what I thought and this is my thought. And it's just like, "But if you can't prove it, then is it real?" And I'm like, "That's your belief, not mine. I know what's true to me." So, yeah, I think that's where but I get what you're saying, because then when you have those debates, I don't wanna debate this with you.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't care to.
Yeah.
And like when people prove to me why Jesus was
Resurrected.
resurrected, and I was like, well, you want to have an actual good faith conversation of what I believe, and then we can talk about it, or are you just standing there to just try to catch me on something?
Yeah.
I was like, there's a waste of time. Like,
Yeah.
you're not actually open to actually talking about
Sure.
this.
No, for sure.
So yeah, there's a big difference.
There is, and so I think I would probably question, like, "What?" I might think, like, "Am I seeing something differently?" I might look at the picture 5 times and be like, "What?"
Yeah, I'd probably get up out of my seat
And then
and
look
I'd
at
walk
it and
over to the other people, and maybe they have a different view.
oh, sometimes there's, like, those optical illusions, and, like, the face, like, is like a flower, but then it's also a face, and so I'm like, "Oh," or if the dress is yellow or the dress is blue, and you'd be like, "How do they see it like that?"
That still is
Crazy.
to me. What
So
color?
that's where I could be like, "Wow."
Well, I see triangle. I don't know why you guys see square.
I think that's what I would be like. I'd be like, "Well, to be honest, I see triangle. I'm not sure what I'm missing here, what you guys are seeing, but I see a triangle." Yeah. If they would have been like, "Oh, prove it." I'm like, "Well, triangle has 3 sides and I see 3 sides."
Yeah, prove it. You know what? I don't
1,
actually
2,
see.
3.
I see square.
1, 2, 3. Like, it's one of those things. How do you it's just like, yeah, 1 + 1 = 2, and so I'm like, "Prove it." 1, 2.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, it's so interesting how influence and like brainwash works and how people are, and like
Yeah, because a lot of times I forgot if she said they showed the picture and then they took it away, or if they left it up there. Because I think that also makes a big difference.
I think
Because
yeah.
memory can be
Very true.
swayed. Yeah, you can definitely misremember or re-remember something that didn't happen if multiple people told you
Yeah.
that's what happened.
Right. Or if no one thinks of it as a big deal, then you start to question and be like, okay, well maybe this isn't a big deal. And that rings true for me because I'll think something is like, oh, I think this is a big deal, but then you talk to like 3 people and like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. And you're like,
Yeah. And you know
oh,
what's crazy? I forget what it's called, but there's a whole thing about like there's like this thing where a lot of people remember something about the past, a common thing, and it's actually incorrect. But then everyone thinks it's a big psyop because everyone's really there's something about like Sinbad was a genie in a movie, and everyone remembered like yeah, of course he was in that one movie as a genie. But then there's like no record of him actually being in that movie. I got there's a couple examples of this.
you've
Like,
been brainwashed.
I saw it on Reddit.
Oh,
He like asked you a question about
Sinbad. I have no idea.
in the 90s there's some other examples too. I could probably get some, but it was interesting because I'm like, I remember that. But then they go back and they pull up records and it's not that.
Interesting.
Everyone's like, no, I definitely remember that. They must have scrubbed the internet or something.
Oh gosh, that's so funny.
But it's like not just like a couple people. It's a vast majority of people that like kind of like
Interesting how that works.
yeah, that's
Alrighty. Well, okay, we're gonna hit the gym. If you're new here, thanks for watching. Thumbs up, subscribe.